Harihi Om. Om Sthavakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharmasvarupine Sthavakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharmasvarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Yate Namah Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Today's topic I have chosen: how to make life worth living and enjoyable. Sri Ramakrishna has said in the Gospel that one should use his faculty of buddhi, intellect, to decide what things are to be done and what ought not to be done. So one has to have the priority in doing actions. So one should develop viveka, right discrimination. Then only one can expect a happy life and an enjoyable one too. It is true, suffering has been with man from the beginning of time. As throughout the day, night remains a fact, so throughout life, misery and death remain a fact. As long as life is here on earth, suffering is going to stay. So one cannot destroy this fact of suffering. There will always be thorns in this world, but you can avoid getting pricked by them, or even pricked by one, you can take another thorn and remove the first and then throw away both and be soon free of pain. Sri Ramakrishna has used this analogy. That's the way to make life worth living and enjoyable. Man has succeeded in discovering methods of ending suffering. Suffering by its nature is a fundamental problem of life. So, the solution should also be of fundamental nature. it is generally found that we ourselves are responsible for our sufferings, and so we ourselves should have to work out for the removal. Suppose you touch a fire, you suffer from burning. You will have to immediately take off your hand from the fire to avoid intense burning and suffering therefrom. Again, Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of camel. It loves to eat thorny bushes. As a result, its mouth bleeds. But still, it continues to eat them. So it follows that none can help you in such situation unless and until you change your mind. Identifying with body and mind causes suffering. You think you can stay young and not get old, and you think you will not get any disease, and you think you will not die. Your dear ones will live with you and will not die. You think that the things you love and adore will be with you forever. As long as you think and imagine this way, you can't avoid suffering. Sooner or later, you will see that things happen not as you wished to be, but differently. Death snatches away your dear ones one by one. Things happen as a result of cause and effect, and consequently you suffer with misery, pain and grief. So, suffering continues due to false identifications, false expectations, false fears and ignorance. So here comes the message of Upanishad, which is very important. Vedantic wisdom comes to the rescue of human suffering and paves the way for real happiness. Shvetashvatara Upanishad says, when men shall roll up space as if it were a piece of hide, then there will be an end of misery without once cultivating knowledge of God. As it is not possible to roll up the sky like a piece of hide, so it is impossible to get rid of suffering without realizing God. It means, therefore, that by realizing God, one can put an end to all suffering and be in real bliss. Kathopanishad teaches there is one who is the eternal reality among non-eternal objects, the one truly conscious entity among conscious objects, and who, though non-dual, fulfills the desires of many. Eternal peace belongs to the wise, who perceive him within themselves, not to others. In another verse, this same Upanishad teaches, Atman, smaller than the small, greater than the great, is hidden in the hearts of all living creatures. One who is free from desires beholds the majesty of the self through tranquility of the senses and the mind, and becomes free from grief. These are very important Vedantic teachings given by the Upanishads. Application of these Vedantic teachings in our life brings us lasting peace and joy, putting an end to all types of suffering. Vedanta wants our thinking faculty to be properly sharpened to maintain tranquility of mind. When I say my watch, the watch is objective to me, separate from me. Similarly, in saying my body and my mind, the body and mind are things other than the true entity, I, the soul. This body of the soul undergoes many changes: childhood, youth, and old age. We are born, the body grows from the infant state to the state of boyhood, then to that of youth, thence to middle age, and then to old age. If we observe these things carefully, we see that in each case the preceding state dies and the succeeding state is born. Thus, in each change there is death involved, only we do not recognize it. If we should regret death, that is, fall of the body, we should also regret the other deaths, the bodily changes. Growth means decay and death of the previous state. If it were not so, after being born, the child must remain static and stagnant ever in childhood. Thus, if all the infants stop growing and remain infants, what will the state of the world be? Death is as much a change and a necessity as any other change of the body. It is indispensable. If a child is not growing properly, we are worried. Yet even a child's growing is death in the real sense. As the former changes are inevitable, death, the ultimate change, is also inevitable. Life means change, dynamism. It just cannot be static. In the soul there is no change. If you want changelessness in the ever-changing body, that cannot be. So we should not grieve or lose balance over the occurrence of death, but maintain equanimity and carry on the duties with steady and calm mind. Here are our organs of sensation by which we know the external world. The equipments for it are the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and the skin. Shut your eyes, plug your ears and nose, bind the mouth and the whole body, and any body bound that way will be no better than a fallen piece of log. As far as the external world is concerned, it is dead to you. As soon as these are opened, one by one, you understand the world. By the five senses, we understand the world through the processes of sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. These are the five categories of sensation. Life means man in the waking state, living in the world, keeping these organs of sensation open. That's all. From the awareness of the world, we have certain knowledge and understanding. What is the result of this understanding? In the ultimate analysis, it is cold, heat, happiness, and sorrow. The mother is happy to see her child well fed and unhappy to see the child famished. That is, she is happy and unhappy through the same eyes. When you get up and see auspicious things, you are happy. If you happen to see inauspicious things, you are unhappy. Why? The senses go out and gather the objects. Sometimes they give good reports which give us happiness, and sometimes bad reports which give us unhappiness. What's the nature of happiness and unhappiness? They come and go. Agama painaha, Lord Krishna says in the Gita. They have no permanent value. That something will give us always happiness or always unhappiness is a wrong notion. The same perception can give us happiness now and unhappiness at other times. And the same perception can give happiness to one and unhappiness to another at the same time. So, that's how all our experiences in the life teach us. Suppose a person wants a son. The son is born. is educated, and when about to be married, he just disobeys and quarrels with his father. The father also gets angry and disowns him. So that son who was giving him happiness all these 25 years gives him only unhappiness now. Under the same set of circumstances, people act differently, and the same person reacts to the same set of circumstances differently at different times. So, we should understand, therefore, that joy and misery do not depend on the objects of the external world. They reside in us. In our dealing with worldly objects, let it be anything, a job, family, or children, when we get joy or misery, we think we get it from these. The wrong understanding that happiness and unhappiness reside in them is ignorance. The seat of happiness is within us. This is the first Vedantic wisdom we should have. Happiness and unhappiness come and go. They are impermanent. They are projected momentarily on the mind. Are they real, valid, genuine, and true? Have they any abiding value? They are just momentary features of the mind called happiness and unhappiness, whose seat is within ourselves. That we are happy or unhappy because of the world outside is a primary wrong notion that we are hugging on to. My family is troubling me, my boss is annoying me, and such things are also meaningless complaints. Do not blame the world. No amount of material prosperity or success in worldly dealings can give you a real joy, because you don't have contentment. The more and more you enjoy in the external things of the world, the more and more you hanker after them, and there is no end for the desire. So that keeps you always in some kind of stress and strain. So, countless desires keep him continuously engaged in tremendous activities, causing tremendous stress and strain. That's one of the reasons why cholesterol is raised in a person who is with more stress and strain. So if you are looking for happiness from the external world, it will be just a wild goose chase. This ignorance must be removed first. Don't blame the world. Let anything happen. Find the fault in yourself, in your own mind. That is the Vedantic wisdom. Mind alone is the cause of bondage as well as the release of person. If you are attached to the objects of the outside world, you are bound. Recurring birth and death will be your fate. Dissociate your mind from worldly objects, even though remaining in their midst like a lotus leaf in water. Padma patrameva ambhasa. It is submerged in water, yet water does not stick to lotus. Similarly, though physically associating with the world, mentally detach yourself. Be aware of your own mind and improve it if you want to outlive happiness and unhappiness. It is an internal process. Know it, understand it. Happiness and unhappiness come from within. So manipulate within. Train the mind. Know your mind. Know that joy and pain are momentary, ephemeral, and transient. When joy or sorrow comes, ignore it and sustain it. So, you have to always have your intellect sharpened. You must always analyze why the situation is causing me suffering. What's the result? What is the reason? Try to diagnose the cause of it. Then the suffering is minimized and you may get over the suffering altogether. Whatever worldly attainments we might have, if we have not cultivated equanimity, we have attained nothing. In sleep, we are not conscious of anything. The mind is at rest. As soon as we wake up, different impressions and thoughts flow through the mind, the thought flow being intermittent, constant, and consecutive. Just as waves rise and subside on the surface of the ocean, so also thoughts rise and ebb. And this flow of thoughts is what is called mind. These thoughts ordinarily subside only during absolute unconsciousness or sleep. In sleep, we are not aware of the external world or ourselves. Anything may occur around us, it means nothing to us because we are not aware. The moment one wakes up, the senses start functioning and the flow of thought starts. Whatever be the thoughts that flow, the ultimate result is happiness and unhappiness. Different thoughts come and go. One thought gives the sensation of happiness and another unhappiness. What's the nature of this flow? Though it appears as a continuous stream, it is not so. One thought rises, then subsides, and another thought rises, it subsides, and another rises, one thought following another. So, like this, thoughts keep on coming into the mind, causing all sorts of vibrations and disturbances. So one has to watch the mind, how the mind is running, where it is running. Then you can certainly control the wanderings of the mind. Now, for any flow to take place, there must be a substratum which is motionless and unchanging. For example, a river to flow, there must be at the bottom a river bed that remains unchanging, motionless. So also, for the flow of thoughts called the mind, there must be an unchanging substratum. What is that? That is pure consciousness. Vedantic truths cannot be fully explained by similes. Only certain aspects can be explained by similes. Our mind can be compared to an ocean. Just as waves, foam, bubbles and breakers are part and parcel of the ocean, though they appear to be different, so also we name certain thoughts as happiness and some as unhappiness. But the content of each thought is the same whether they are happiness, unhappiness or otherwise. Just as the content of all the waves and breakers is the same sea water. The content of each thought is awareness, pure understanding, pure consciousness. Another example is taken. When a flashlight is focused on a pole, we see the pole. When it is focused on the microphone, we see the microphone. Yet the process of illumination is the same. The same water, when poured in different colored bottles, seems to be differently colored, but it is the same colorless water. So, we may have different thoughts and different inferences, but the essence of the unit contained in each thought is the same pure awareness, pure consciousness, or pure understanding. When you are in a state of deep meditation, all thoughts cease. There is just pure consciousness within you, and you are conscious only of the self. Your consciousness alone. The moment your mind expresses itself, there occurs a movement on the consciousness and the thought flow starts. In the wavy motion of thoughts, one motion gives a pleasing feeling and another gives a displeasing feeling. In abstract thinking, our senses do not operate. It is pure imagination. Then, even though the external world is not affecting you, you are often conscious of happiness and unhappiness. You simply misunderstand that happiness and unhappiness come from outside. External objects cannot give us joy and pain. Be definite about it. Lord Krishna teaches in the Gita, God is seated in the heart of each and every one. At the seat of consciousness in, above, underneath, and through every thought, He is seated. Pure consciousness is the infinite God, pervading everywhere like the blue sky. Blue color is the color of the infinite. By each and every method, by each and every thought, try to go closer to Him. Then only by the grace of the God within you can you have permanent happiness, pure bliss, from which you can have no fall. So two things are required if you are to have real, everlasting Ananda. One, you are consciously getting closer and closer to your own real self. Second is grace, which will naturally be yours when you consciously try to approach Him with all sincerity. So this consciously getting closer to Him is nothing but a process of knowledge, jnana. Vedantic wisdom is a direct process of realization to experience real happiness. So, one should have Vedantic approach. Then certainly he can make his life worth living and enjoyable. So, aware of the spiritual knowledge makes you really happy and peaceful. A man's spiritual consciousness is not awakened unless his kundalini is aroused. The kundalini dwells in the Mooladhara. When it is aroused, it passes along the Sushumna nerve, goes through the centers of Swadhisthana, Manipura and so on, and at last reaches the head. This is called the movement of the Mahavayu, the spiritual current. It culminates in Samadhi. Once spiritual consciousness is not awakened by the mere reading of books, one should also pray to God. The kundalini is aroused if the aspirant feels restless for God. To talk of knowledge from mere study and hearsay, what will that accomplish? Just before my attaining this state of mind, it had been revealed to me how the kundalini is aroused, how the lotuses of the different centers blossom forth, and how all this culminates in Samadhi. This is a very secret experience. I saw a boy 22 or 23 years old, exactly resembling me, enter the Sushumna nerve and commune with the lotuses, touching them with his tongue. He began with the center or the anus and passed through the centers of the sexual organ, navel and so on. The different lotuses of those centers, 4 petals, 6 petals, 10 petals and so forth, had been drooping. At his touch they stood erect. When he reached the heart, I distinctly remember it, and communed with the lotus there, touching it with his tongue. The 12-petal lotus, which was hanging head down, stood erect and opened its petals. Then he came to the 16-petal lotus in the throat and the 2-petal lotus in the forehead, and last of all the 1,000-petal lotus in the head blossomed. Since then I have been in this state. Sri Ramakrishna came down to the floor and sat near Mahimacharan, M, and a few other devotees who were near him. Rakhal also was in the room. Master said to Mahima, "For a long time I have wanted to tell you my spiritual experiences, but I could not. I feel like telling you today. You say that by mere sadhana one can attain a state of mind like mine, but it is not so. There is something special here, referring to himself. Rakhal M and the others became eager to hear what the master was going to say. Master said, God talked to me. It was not merely his vision. He talked to me. Under the banyan tree I saw him coming from the Ganges. Then we laughed so much. By way of playing with me, he cracked my fingers. Then he talked. Yes, he talked to me. For 3 days I wept continuously, and he revealed to me what is in the Vedas, the Puranas, the Tantras, and the other scriptures. One day he showed me the Maya of Mahamaya. A small light inside a room began to grow, and at last it enveloped the whole universe. Further, he revealed to me a huge reservoir of water covered with green scum. The wind moved a little of the scum, and immediately the water became visible. But in the twinkling of an eye, scum from all sides came dancing in and again covered the water. He revealed to me that the water was like Chidananda, and the scum like Maya. On account of Maya, Chidananda is not seen, though now and then one may get a glimpse of it. Again Maya covers it. God reveals the nature of the devotees to me before they arrive. I saw Chaitanya's party singing and dancing near the Panchavati, between the banyan tree and the bakul tree. I noticed Balram there. If it were not for him, who would there be to supply me with sugar candy and such things? Pointing to Yam, Sri Ramakrishna said, and I saw him too. I had seen Keshav before I actually met him. I had seen him and his party in my samadhi. In front of me sat a room full of men. Keshav looked like a peacock sitting with its tail spread out. The tail meant his followers. I saw a red gem on Keshav's head that indicated his rajas. He said to his disciples, please listen to what he, meaning the master, is saying. I said to the Divine Mother, Mother, these people hold the views of Englishmen. Why should I talk to them? Then the mother explained to me that it would be like this in the Kali Yuga. Keshav and his followers got from here, meaning himself, the names of Hari and the Divine Mother. That's why the Divine Mother took Vijay away from Keshav's party. But Vijay did not join the Adi Samaj. Pointing to himself, there must be something special here. Long ago, a young man named Gopal Sen used to visit me. He who dwells in me placed his foot on Gopal's chest. Gopal said in an ecstatic mood, you will have to wait here a long time. I can't live any more with worldly people. He took leave of me. Afterwards I heard that he was dead. Perhaps he was born as Nitya Gopal. I have had many amazing visions. I had a vision of the indivisible Sachidananda. Inside it, I saw two groups with a fence between them. On one side were Kedar, Chuni, and other devotees who believe in the personal God. On the other side was a luminous space like a heap of red brick dust. Inside it was seated Narendra, immersed in samadhi. Seeing him absorbed in meditation, I called aloud, "Oh Narendra!" He opened his eyes a little. I came to realize that he had been born in another form in Simla, in a Kayastha family. At once I said to the Divine Mother, Mother, entangle him in Maya, otherwise he will give up his body in Samadhi. Kedar, a believer in the personal God, peeped in and ran away with a shudder. Therefore I feel that it is the Divine Mother herself who dwells in this body and plays with the devotees. When I first had my exalted state of mind, my body would radiate light. My chest was always flushed. When I said to the Divine Mother, Mother, do not reveal thyself outwardly. Please go inside. That's why my complexion is so dull now. If my body was still luminous, people would have tormented me. A crowd would always have thronged here. Now there is no outer manifestation that keeps weeds away. Only genuine devotees will remain with me now. Do you know why I have this illness? It has the same significance. Those whose devotion to me has a selfish motive behind it will run away at the sight of my illness. I cherished a desire. I said to the mother, O mother, I shall be the king of the devotees. To stop here. Any question? No question. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bought for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how used then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue. The playthings of lust are the toys of fame, as many times as I may be reborn. Grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as just beneath thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when an instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, and my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous reign tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the free make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be free from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.